Hey folks, it's Bob out here at Sorrento Hill. I'm standing in front of the latest wall that I finished. That's the dining room wall. Uh, I think last I had talked to you folks, I was in process on that wall or just getting ready to start it. It's been a few weeks since I put a video out. It's not for lack of trying. I did one, and as I was editing it, I noticed the sound was real splotchy. Um, my microphone evidently failed on me, and so I tried one without a microphone, and that one didn't come out very well. So third time's a charm. I've got one. I checked it out, and it's working quite well. So you'll be able to hear me a little better, which I'm going to say is a good thing. So, anyways, that's the last wall that section that I finished. That's for the dining room. You know, it's the windows up above. I've got the cordwood all the way across the top. Which is interesting. Yeah, the cordwood top across the top, it hides that beam there. And then this is the next wall that I'm working on. This one is the kitchen wall. You see all the wiring in it. That's for outlets that are going to be on the counter and beside the window. There's one on either side of the window. The sink is directly under this window. There's a couple outlet boxes under there. My wife couldn't decide if she wants a dishwasher and a garbage disposal. So I went ahead and ran another circuit and put a couple outlet boxes in there. Those will be in the wall underneath the sink base, and what those will be for garbage disposal and dishwasher if she decides that she wants one. If she doesn't want one, well, I've got outlets there. If she does want one, then I don't have to figure out how to run them. So this one's going to be fun. As you see, I got a narrow spot there. I thought about sliding my window all the way over to the beam, but then it wouldn't be centered on the cabinets. So there's going to be a 36-inch unit in the center, and then there'll be a 15-inch base, and then the sink base, and then there'll be another corner unit going that way, and then over here will be dining room. So that's the one I'm working on next. And when I get that one done, because I got a part that's got to go all the way up. That'll be fun. But that'll be the last that I'll have to go all the way up, next to the last, where I'll have to go all the way up. Then that will be the whole front of the house that's done. And what I just got finished working on and decided to take a few minutes to do a video. But what I just finished working on was my window box here for the dining room. Yeah, now you'll see right here, these are the screws where the screws go in that hold it to the timber. And then, of course, since I knew it was going to be painted, there were some little gaps sometimes where the wood wasn't perfectly straight. And I just filled that with wood putty. Same thing there. A few knots and things like that. Fill those up. And then I'll come back, like right here, had some little knot and a little divot in there. So I just filled those in. I did a rough sand with 80 grit and fill those in. Then I'll go over it with 120, and then it'll be ready to paint. And you may be able to hear my fan in the background. We went from temperatures in the low 70s to temperatures in the 90s and high humidity almost instantly. So I'm getting ready to go to the farmer's market again, working on some of my cedar boxes. Just take a chunk of cedar and cut a slice off to make a lid out of, and then hollow it out, and there you've got a nice little trinket box. I got a couple here that I've got finished up, and they're painted and everything. And then what I do to make sure the lid stays on is I just take a little piece of 1/4-inch plywood. I take and put a piece of typing paper, copy paper, on top here, take my pencil and just rub along the edge. And that gives me a template to cut out. Cut me some 1/4-inch plywood and then just make sure it fits. And then boom. That's what I use to register the top. Make sure that it stays on there. It doesn't slide off, and it fits on there nice and neat. So that's a couple that are finished. I got that other one I'm working on, and I also did a lamp. Now this is out of oak that I harvested from the place, and I've got a 1-inch thick base. It's 4 inches by 7 inches, and then I took some about 5/8 inch thick. This is doweled and glued together. Another piece here doweled and glued, and then once I had it all doweled and glued together, I put some curved shapes in it using paint cans, and then cut those out with a jigsaw and sanded them, and that's just a little desk lamp. Now in the future, I like the design, but I think in the future what I'm going to do, my next one, I'm going to put a curve here so this isn't straight, to round it off so that it matches here, and then probably here on the base I'll also put another curve right here to round it off so that it echoes this here. But I thought that looked pretty nice. Just a little desk lamp, LED bulb. And then Christmas time, I made these candle holders, and I had some that were left over. Now they had some Christmas greenery in them. I took that off. These two, I've got some spring greenery. I just got a hot glue gun, so I'll put some spring greenery in there, see if I can sell those. And I took another one, and believe it or not, this has a cord on it. And I just put white paper in there that's got a 40-watt bulb, LED bulb in it. Plug it in, it's got a nice glow. And then, of course, some of the wall art. And still making crosses and planters, things like that. But in the meantime, I'm trying to concentrate on getting walls done, because as you can see behind me, living room is all done, doorway is all done. Now I've got the dining room done, and I need to get the kitchen and then these side walls, and I get those walls done, and I'll be ready to start putting in my upper windows and clean all my junk out of here, and clean all my junk out of here and be ready to start putting in floors and putting up my car siding for the walls. I think you're gonna like that when I'll make sure to make some video when I'm putting the car siding in on the walls. I love the pine car siding, and the place where I'm going to go, he I don't know how he ends up getting it, but he's got a lot of blue stain pine, and it's absolutely beautiful stuff. And some people will sort through a stack to get rid of it, so I'm looking forward to getting some of that. It's just absolutely beautiful stuff, and that's what I'll be putting up for my dividing walls here. And some people might say, well, that's just too much wood, but that's what we're going for, is the rustic look with the wood. And then we'll continue the car siding on up and use it on the ceiling as well. So that's where I am right now. I'm just I thought I'd talk to you folks for a few minutes while I wait for this wood putty to dry. It's drying pretty quick here in this heat. But get that dry, and then I'll come through and sand, and then I'll take my tack cloth and wipe the dust off of it and put a couple coats of white paint on here. And then next week I'll be buying the window to put in this wall. I'm going ahead and putting my windows in as I get a wall done. The first most of the windows that I put in, all except these two big dining room the dining room and living room windows, I already had those on hand and had them in our closet leaning up against the wall, and had them tied so they wouldn't fall over. And I just figured, those windows will be a lot safer in a wall than they will leaning up against stuff and being moved or bumped. So went ahead and put those in, and it's man, I tell you, when it goes from low 70s to to 90s, all of a sudden, it's amazing the difference that makes. But it's good weather for doing cordwood. Tomorrow, it would be Saturday. I'm going to the farmer's market, see if I can sell some stuff, and I'll be. I've got some other things that I'm going to be making because depending upon how much I sell at the farmer's market, because we're doing a craft fair coming up June 10th. And we've always done well at craft fairs because everybody's going there looking for something crafty, something, and usually they're going not to look, but they're going there with the intent to buy something. So we usually do several hundred at a craft fair, so I'm looking forward to that. It's the first annual one, but it's here in this area, so we'll be part of the first one and hopefully a part of getting it kicked off. It's it's at the it's in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. For any of you that might be in the southeast Missouri or central Missouri area, northeast Arkansas, in the town of Poplar Bluff is where it's going to be, and it's going to be at the Masonic Lodge. It's the Order of the Eastern Star that's holding it. So that'll be next Saturday, June 10th, from I think 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I'd kind of like if it started at 10 o'clock. That way I wouldn't have to get up and get loaded and get there so early. So you see me itching my eye a little bit here. I had an interesting thing happen last week. My dad stopped by as I was finishing up this wall. All I had to do to finish it up was get up top and finish a few hands full of mortar. He didn't want to stick around for seeing me climb the ladder, but at any rate, I when I finished that up, I had to run to Menards to pick up some supplies. And when I got in the truck, I had washed my face because I had dust all over and everything. So I washed it off at the faucet, and I looked to make sure I gotten all the crud off my face. Looked in the mirror, the truck mirror, and there was a spot under my eye. And I thought, oh, I missed a spot. And I went to wipe it, thought it was a speck of dirt. Closed my eye to wipe it. And I looked up, it was still there. And I looked a little closer, it was a tick. I had a tick that had latched on right there amongst the eyelashes. And he hadn't been there that long. I didn't even feel him. I was able to get him to let loose, and his head was intact. But I swell up with those things. I get one on my arm, my leg, and I get a knot. I'll get a knot that big around. It doesn't turn red or anything. It's just, it doesn't matter what kind of bug bites me. It can be a mosquito. I get big knots that tall from mosquito bites. And chiggers, I get big bumps, and ticks, I get big bumps. I thought, man, this is going to be great. And sure enough, underneath my eye, it swelled up. You'd have thought I looked like I was in the Rocky movie. But that went down after a couple days. Still itches just a little bit from time to time, but it's amazing. Who'd have ever thought? I didn't get any on my legs. I didn't get any on my arms, anywhere like that, because I had sprayed that Pyrethrin spray on my boots and pant legs just a day or two before, and it works for several days. But I guess the thing must have fallen out of the sky or something. But I've never had one latch onto my face, let alone my eye. So that was kind of crazy. Of course, everybody gets scared to death you're going to die because you got bit by a tick. But I've got lots of tick bites, and so far, knock on wood, I haven't gotten anything out of it. But yeah, ticks are a real problem out here. We don't have mosquitoes. The place we lived before, man, the mosquitoes were so bad that the house had a deck on it, but it was unusable because the mosquitoes would just swarm. Now, my wife, she was able to use it. I was there, mosquitoes were all around me. They left her alone. So if you going somewhere where there's mosquitoes and you want to be safe, invite me along. They'll flog me and they'll leave you alone because they'll be too busy chewing on me. So anything I can do to help, right? Let me show you one more thing I've got before I sign off here for the day. I made some. My aunt sent me this idea, and I decided to make a couple welcome signs, plant hangers. You see there, just made out of 2x4 and 2x6. Got a hook on it, and you can see the word welcome there. Well, it says welcome. I know it's backwards for you, but and a hook to hang a planter, and just a little something for the door. I got one that's got an oak stain on it, and then one that's a weathered gray, and hopefully those will move too. So we're getting excited about the house, getting it done. My brother and others were up visiting for my father's 90th birthday party, which was a great success. And he said, you can't call it Serenity Hill Homestead because you don't have any chickens and you don't have a garden yet. And I said, well, I own the place, and that's what I call it, because I am going to have chickens and a garden. So today, or past few days, I've also had to mow grass, and my mower has a catch bag on it that goes in the mulch pile. We got a pile that's quite tall with leaves that we've been collecting for about 3-4 years now. We haven't burned leaves here in about 4 years. We rake them up and put them in the compost pile, and so I just threw a couple bags of grass clippings on there and just got finished turning that to incorporate them in. And boy, I tell you, down near the bottom of that thing, as I was turning it, you can't tell it was ever leaves because it's just some nice black dirt, and there's worms in it, so that's really encouraging. So that'll be going in the garden. And I've somebody on a Facebook group posted about how they got leaves by going around where people were in the fall when people were raking their leaves, and they put all these bags of leaves out by the road and ask them, hey, do you mind if I take your leaves and use them for compost? And they're like, sure, you take all you want. And taking people's big black trash bags full of leaves. I don't have that problem. I've got 11.5 acres of woods. I got all the leaves I can use. But instead of burning them, we've been composting them to use to improve the soil around here. So we've got plenty of that. We got plenty of that to put in the garden this winter and spring. So looking forward to that. But yeah, when I sit here in my nice little cubby hole where I've got my chair sitting, I had to open the window to get a little breeze through, because as I get more walls, I get less air movement, and it gets a little warmer in here. But yeah, I look out and all I can see through is the windows, because I'm getting more and more wall there, so it's feeling more and more like a house instead of a big outdoor porch, and that's kind of exciting. So next week I'll be going out and cutting down some more trees, peeling more logs. I've got enough in my kiln right now to do this kitchen wall, but I don't have enough for the wall next to it, so I've got to go cut more logs. I'll be doing that for probably 1 day a week for the next month and a half, to make sure I've got enough logs to finish all these walls up. And whatever I don't use in these walls will go in my barbecue pavilion. So that's just where we are. Another wall done, and of course, using the wood putty to cover up screw holes and any defects and flaws. That way it looks nicer when I put my window in, and put some paint on that. Again, we had debated on whether we were going to stain the window boxes or put paint on, but I really like them with the white. It really kind of helps brighten the room up, and they look pretty nice. So, all right, that's where we are today. Still doing cordwood, still putting walls up, still going cutting logs, and making stuff to sell at the craft fair. Every extra penny helps a little. Right now, it all goes to building materials. Any of you that are building something can understand that, right? So, anyways, like I'm always telling you, don't be afraid to get out there and try something you've never done before. All these things I showed you, these boxes that I made from the chunks of cedar. I'd never done anything like that, but just came up with an idea and say, well, how can I make that happen? The lamp that I built, that was just something that I thought of one night while I was trying to get to sleep, and I liked it enough that I got up and did a little sketch of it, so I didn't forget by morning time. Um, Things like the cordwood, the window boxes. I mean, just everything we're doing out here. It's not rocket science, and if you've got just of a little bit of skill and a little bit of knowledge, you can figure it out. And don't be afraid to get out there and try something that you've never done before. You might just like it. You might be good at it, and people might look at it and say, well, that's not very good. But I would encourage you, if someone tells you that, to ask them, well, can I see something that you've built so we can critique it? And I bet you 90% of the people that say that are going to say, well, I haven't built anything, or I haven't made anything, so you can't critique their work because they haven't done any. But you have. So get out there and try it, do something, have some fun with it, and you might just enjoy it. Again, this is Bob at Serenity Hill. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for spending your time with us, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.